Once again, this is Otherworldly Fundraising. Our fundraising efforts are benefiting one simple wish. Links are located in the description below.
Okay, thanks, guys. Take it away.
Cool. Hello.
Hi.
Sorry, it's ended up being a lot darker in here than I initially intended, so apologies.
It's great. Wow.
But I did some looking, and really fascinating, really amazing career that you've had, and all of the different things that you've been able to do.
Thanks.
So the first thing I wanted to talk about is kind of start from the beginning. So what was the first thing? And I know that acting wasn't the initial thing that you were looking at.
Correct.
But what was the first thing that you saw, whether it be a movie or a TV show or like either Broadway or something, that made you go, you know what, I want to do that, or that would be fun to do?
Right. What was it? Well, I started as a ballerina. I wanted to be a ballerina. And then I remember, what was it? Did I go see a movie? I actually saw Scrooged.
Oh,
And
love that.
I feel something like I want, and I've always just been kind of like an emotional person,
Yep.
but I don't really have the words to express myself. And so it just kind of, I don't know if there was one thing specifically, but it just kind of like the universe just pulled me into this direction where I could be fully in touch with my feelings, but not feel the pressure of having to come up with a beautiful verbiage to speak. I could just read what some brilliant writer wrote and have my feelings come through that. So it was just this beautiful transition from like ballet, where I didn't speak, but I could be emotional on stage. And
Yep.
then I modeled, once again, not speaking. And then acting came in, and it was just like this perfect like unification of my dreams and talents.
That's cool. Well, and that actually, it's really interesting how symmetry sort of works.
Yeah.
Where like as you said, you get to emote, you get to express, and you don't have to create everything from whole cloth. It is set for you.
Right.
But you get to channel your emotion through it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's such a special craft, I think, we have as actors. Like it's there's nothing like it in the world, and I feel so blessed to be able to do it and to have found it. And and I love all the characters that I've been given. Like I just like, it's such an honor to do what I do. So yeah.
Now, this is something that probably changes for everybody as they kind of go through these things. But do you have a favorite type of character or a least favorite type of character?
No, I don't have a least favorite type of character, because I learned in acting class very early on that you don't judge your characters. Because I would get a character and I'd be like, no, this girl is a bitch. I'm not gonna. And then you learn quickly that you can't judge the person. And then once you realize what the character is doing and why they're doing it, then it becomes like this beautiful, wonderful thing to represent. And do I have a favorite character to play? I think, well, obviously it's fun to play a villain.
Sure.
Yeah, that's kind of delicious, I think. What else do I like to play? I think just like a full-rounded, wonderful written kind of character. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. That was kind of what I was thinking, because acting is so many different things with sitcoms and versus like superhero things versus drama. There are so many different levels of depth with characters. And actually, they just asked, do you prefer doing comedy or drama?
Right.
Overall?
I really love comedy.
Yeah.
I really love comedy because, especially comedy that's live, the multicam, which are few and far between now. There's such a beautiful rush of approval from the audience when you hit that joke. is just like, it's like live theater. I imagine. I've never done live theater, but I imagine it's something like that. Just beautiful feedback immediately. And when you do drama, although beautiful and you can have your space and your moment, like comedy is just very fast and you have to time it out, right?
Yeah.
And you can't, you have to breathe in the right spots. And with drama, you can kind of breathe anywhere you want. It's just,
Right.
you give yourself the time to allow whatever feelings are going to come up. But you don't get that feedback right away,
Yep.
if ever. You're just like kind of with yourself or with your scene partner, and you're like, okay, I think it was good. I think we did it. Okay.
Yeah.
But with comedy, man, you know when you hit it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. And you know, with comedy, like you said, you get the instant reaction, whereas like most other things can be very insular, especially if it's a scene that you're just doing on your own.
Yeah.
And or if it's something that you're kind of feeling with whoever you're in the scene with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, somebody asked, do you still engage in dance for fun? Are you able to do some of that?
So I want to so bad. There's a dance studio that I've been wanting to go back to. I had a baby a year ago, and so trying to leave the house is very challenging.
Yeah.
But I have done like a Zoom ballet class, which has been very satisfying. But I only did it once. And I constantly, like at least twice a week, I'm like, I gotta find a way to get to that class. And I just have not done it.
Yeah.
But I do love dancing, and I love just moving my body. I think it's such a expressive. It just makes me feel good when I'm, getting a little depressed. Like I'll call my dad, and he's like, "Have you moved your body lately?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, I haven't." So then, I go out, I hike, or I do a little weightlifting or something in the house.
Yeah.
Don't leave the house.
Yep.
But I think moving your body is really important, because that's part of our craft as well, is like, it's my whole being, right?
Yeah.
So if my body is locked down, or if I'm not in tune with it, then I can't really connect to the feelings and what's going on in me. So important. But I do love dancing, and I miss it so much.
That's really cool. Yeah. And you're so right. Just it's amazing the endorphins that you get from doing that, and you feel more connected to yourself and to everything.
Yeah.
When you move. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So important.
It is. It really is. It's a great question. I love Ed Asner as well. What was he like to work with?
Oh my God. He is a force. I think he was in his 90s. I don't know his exact age. He flew from Los Angeles to Atlanta to film with us. And we shoot very, very long. Oh, do you have I have a very good memory? I see. Joe Hubler. We have very long shooting days on Doom Patrol, like 14 to 17 hours. And he was on set all day. He was incredible. He reminded me of like just a salty sailor, like someone who has lived life and is not going to be like flustered about anything. And extremely talented, obviously, and just a little salty, that guy.
Yeah. Now we're going to refrain from using names of things because the AMPTP sucks.
Sorry.
You guys don't. No, it's okay. You don't like. I just want to keep everybody in mind of that we're very respectful of the strike.
I am too. I just forgot.
No, it's all good. I just wanted to say to everybody that it's important that people are paid well, that people are as protected as possible.
Yes.
And like everybody, supporting the strikes and supporting unions is incredibly important, especially right now because AI is taking over everything. and while I myself have engaged in AI because there are really interesting little like aside things that can be done with it, and it's a great tool, it doesn't need to be the only thing, because if, like I was telling somebody, if nobody has a job, there is no economy.
Correct.
So if everybody's out of a job,
how do we?
Nobody gets to do anything. And I'll just say this real quick. I don't want to get too into the weeds with it, but like, for the people that have said, "Oh, writing needs to be better," and all these kinds of things, some of the things that the studios are engaged in is also affecting the quality of writing, because first pass writing and some of these other things. So all of this is a big behemoth that needs to be tamed, and them paying people and appreciating the talent and the work that goes into the things that make them so much money is really important.
Yes.
So let me see, how do I go into? So I will refrain from using names because the AMPTP sucks until they pay up.
They suck.
And I want to get into fan creation. I think it would be amazing if all of the creatives, while this is going on, just start making their own stuff and just going off and just, oh, guess what? Here's like a whole thing that's independently created, and just watch this. And I don't know. Does your dance background inform the physicality of your? That's a great question. I'll try to reframe the other while you're looking at this one.
Yes. Yes, it does. I think that once again, it's like as an actor, you have your package and you need to know how it works. And I think dancing for me was a very grounding, like exercise, putting like my mind and my body together, especially ballet, which is such a graceful thing, but takes so much concentration and technique. I've always wanted to try like a hip hop class. Actually, I have, and I'm very not flowy. Like I can't like get a flow, and I admire the people who can move their bodies that way, but I'm very like kind of proper in my movements. And I think that informs most of my characters. A little uptight sometimes.
Well, everybody kind of has their own sort of approach with it, and and with the hip hop stuff, because there have been times when I've been kind of pulled out of my own comfort zone for different things, and sometimes sticking with that. I mean, there's no judgment of any kind at all, but like sticking with that, sometimes you can kind of break cycles or break cycles or learn about our own processes that way, which is fascinating. We missed a question. What was that? Oh yeah, Brendan Fraser. What was it like working with Brendan?
Oh, he's a dream. He's a dream. If you could imagine your best, coziest, wonderfulest friend showing up to your house with hot cocoa and popcorn, that's Brendan Fraser. Like he's never done that. I wish. But he just literally has this cozy, wonderful, incredible, supportive, gentle energy that I've never. I'm like, are you real? Because he's had such an incredible life and a career, and he just won, this beautiful award, and he's just the most down-to-earth, friendliest, kindest guy, and like always on time, always off book, always ready to play.
That's cool. Yeah,
he's a gift. If you ever get a chance to work with him, you're lucky.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
The and Timothy Dalton, while we're on
Mr. Dalton. Mr. Dalton is a proper gentleman, extremely professional. He loves, I think, being a part. There's this lovely story of Timothy's work ethic. It was, we were working on the first season, and we had just done his coverage. And I think it was like probably like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, that's a wrap on Timothy. And he was like, excuse me, doesn't the rest of the cast need their coverage in this scene with me? And
Oh,
I know RD was like, yes, they do, but we'll just have a stand-in do it. It's no problem. And he was like, absolutely not. He's like, how are
yeah.
they supposed to perform without me? I am part of this. And so he
I
stayed
love
until
it.
like 4 a.m. Which,
Oh,
yeah,
see, that's incredible. That's dedication. When
yeah,
you really care about what you're doing and it means something to you and you want everybody, because I've never understood that the other way of thinking, because you build a connection to the people that you're with, and if they're reacting to you, they're not going to react, even
no,
if they react well. I mean, I'm not saying that nobody's a professional without anybody else. No, it's not that. Like, but if you have a different connection with every different kind of person,
yeah,
and when you're going against just like somebody just standing there for you to look at,
yeah.
that's great and all, but like unless you're on like the Muppet Show and you could just and it doesn't matter. Oh no, is that shoot? Sorry, my bad. That's my bad. AMPTP still sucks.
No,
Anyway,
it's
it's so hard to do.
so hard. But
Anyway,
yeah,
but to play against the person that you actually are working with,
yeah,
you're going to react to them in a way that's more consistent with the way you've been working with them,
absolutely.
and
Yes.
it makes such a difference. That's awesome.
He loves the craft so much. He's a craftier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now,
Yeah.
I do want to. Yeah, I'll get to. Yeah, let's do this one now, and then I've got another one. But any wacky audition stories?
Nothing. I've had some horrible auditions. I don't know if they're wacky per se, but the one that comes to mind that's just awful. So hang in there, kids, because it's not all butterflies and honey. I went in to play an FBI agent, and I know now I am a warm, fuzzy. I can
Yep.
have a range, but threatening FBI agent probably is a reach for me. And so I tried, and then the casting director was like, "Go ahead and try it again." Then I tried it again, and then he was like, "Okay, do you want to try it again?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got this. I'm good. Okay, I got this." And then I did it again, and he stopped me in the middle, and he was like, "Okay." He's like, "So not everyone can play everything." And I was like, "Uh-huh." And he's like, "So you might want to tell your agents that you're not an FBI agent." And I was like,
Right.
I knew that walking in. Like, I wanted to turn down the audition, but I was like, nope, I'm an actor. I can do this. And it was just a little heartbreaking. The
Mhm.
casting director was basically like, get out and don't come
Oh my God.
back.
Okay. Well, I
Oh,
mean, I
and then
guess.
there's a piece de resistance at the end. I had to go back into the office and get my validation for parking. So
Oh
that
no.
was also very embarrassing.
Nothing like asking for validation after feeling invalidated.
Yeah, it was awful.
Oh my God. Well, okay, now that's kind of interesting with looking at the different types of roles, because like in comedy and okay, so when working on like a sitcom or something like that,
Yeah.
what is do you have a particular favorite memory on the set of any sitcom work?
Oh man. Oh, the thing about sitcoms is that there's always good energy.
Yeah.
There's always like incredible everyone is happy to be there because the
Mhm.
schedules are great, the work
Yeah.
hours aren't too long, the payoff is incredible. You're working with fun material. Nobody has to like dredge up these heavy emotions. Um, gosh, is there one? I think it's just the energy. I remember really loving the energy. I remember when you mess up a line. When I mess up a line, there's a big laugh from the audience, then you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
gotta do it again. But if you mess up 2 times in a row, then it's not so funny anymore.
Right.
You're like, I better get my line right. I think there's nothing specific that comes to mind, but my favorite part is the before you perform live, you rehearse all week, and then on Fridays or Thursdays you do a live performance in front of a studio audience. And before that, you're in the dressing room with all the actors, and you do a quick read for lines of all the scenes from beginning to end, and it takes like 15 minutes, and it's such good energy, and you can feel the energy of the people outside in the audience. And then they have like an audience warmer up, so there's like this, you can hear that everyone's excited. Are you excited? It's like a football game, or I don't know, but it's the best. It's just so much energy, so much beautiful. Yeah, I loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now of course this is different with sitcoms than would be with anything else, but for not sitcom work, what would you say? Do you have different methods for approaching different types of roles? Do you kind of have an underlying theme for how you get started in approaching something?
Right. What do I do? Well, if it's a specific genre, I'll watch what's already been done. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So if it's something I've never done, but someone else has done it, I'll watch what they did.
Okay.
It's always good to steal as much as you can from all of your fellow actors, because you'll do it in a different way, you just feel, because you're a different person. But I think
nothing funnels the same way through anybody.
Exactly. So that's always exciting. You're like, I'll take it. And then I do a lot of breakdown of I don't do a backstory for a character. I know a lot of people do that. I just look at my objective, and then I fill in the blanks of what is this person really saying, and how is it that they get what they want? Is it with humor? Is it with sexuality? Is it with, being humble, playing dumb? I just fill in the blanks that way. And then with comedy, it's a rhythm, right? So comedy, you have to be off book. There's no room for let me find my line really quick.
Right.
And with drama, there's this flow, right? I find that when it's best for me not to be off book when I'm doing drama, because then I can let things breathe a little bit and then kind of go down and get the line. And then there's this nice behavior that sometimes happens with that's unexpected, leaving room for that magic to happen.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, a follow-up question kind of on that. When it comes to a property that is based on something else, there are two very understandable schools of thought. As a general rule, do you find yourself looking at any of the source material, or do you find yourself not, because you don't want the source material to color a differing direction that the show itself might go?
Right. I think a little dabble do ya. I think it's good to dip a foot in, but not make it your Bible, right? You kind of get a general idea, and then you step back and give yourself space to fill it in.
That's because that has to be a really tough tightrope to walk. It would have to be a tough tightrope to walk for somebody that's invested in the material.
Right.
Yes, certain things that I've done, I actually will write whole things of what they do after and all of this kind of craziness. And then, but it's tough, because if that's not the direction that anybody wants to go, you're just kind of by yourself in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. You're like, I'm on an island.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody's looking at you like, what? Why? Just why? Put that question back up. I missed it. Any stories when you guest starred on a show about a pretend psychic that shall not be named?
A pretend psychic. Okay. Don't kill me. I don't know that show. What show is it? What is it?
I can feel you warm and fuzzy, and it's wonderful. That's awesome.
Good. Thank you. I can feel you're warm and fuzzy too. I don't know the show about the pretend psychic. I should. I don't remember. I'm a bad actor. I'm sorry.
I'm kind of blanking too. It's okay.
Okay, good. Oh, good. We're in this together.
Not just you.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
well,
it was amazing, and I always have. That show was amazing. Once again, I have been blessed with like being on incredible shows. So that show, playing the sister of one of the main characters, there was a polar bear on set. Like, it was like, I'm telling you, we have the most exciting lives sometimes. Like, it's just, what is my point? My point is, it was great. It was incredible. And can I say names?
yeah, not names of shows, but names of actors. And
was working with Neil Patrick Harris. Cool, super cool. Yes. Okay. Also, my lifetime dream, like, Neil Patrick Harris has skyrocketed into this incredible Broadway, wonderful. He's incredible, but he also was Doogie Howser, and I had a big crush on him when I was little. And so,
that's cool.
To be able to work with Doogie Howser, maybe you guys don't know, maybe it was before your time, but it was incredible.
It's not before mine, but maybe theirs. Yeah, I was born in February of 1980, so I'm slightly older, but not by much.
It's such a great month. It's a good
Yeah.
month. It's
Yeah. I mean, not as much. It's not as great in Iowa because the snow usually sucks. But other than that, we're good.
Oh, no, yeah, that's not. You're like, birthday party indoors again. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, it's Valentine's Day, and then 2 days later is my birthday. So it's just,
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Right.
Any pre-tape rituals?
Well, I used to. I was a bad baby. I used to smoke cigarettes before a pre-tape, which was a very, very cool. I was like, I got this. My nerves got this. Don't worry, we're good.
Right.
I quit. I don't know, like 7 years ago. So that's done.
Okay.
So
congratulations, by the way.
Everyone, that's bad news. Thank you. But now it's more. I think you just like. I look at this is what I do on set. You have these little sides, right? These sides are like this size. And like right before taping, if it's a very wordy thing, I like look, and then I throw them. Then I go. That's now my pre-tape ritual.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's part of the dramatics, right? It kind of psychs you up and gets you into the mindset.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like very present, right? You're very present with the words, and that's
cool.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of work that you have not done yet that you would like to, whether it be animation or
like voiceover to me seems really cool. I know it's like hard to kind of break into because it's its own art form that I haven't researched or practiced much, but it just seems very cool to be a cartoon. Very fun. Yeah, I would like that.
And the nice thing, you don't have to worry about makeup or anything, right?
No, that's right. No, you just show up. You're like your pajamas, your glasses. You're like, okay, let's do it.
Except for the days that they're filming, for the days that they're filming for behind the scenes. Then you got, then you get ready. But the rest of the time,
then you'll shower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, I'll shower. That's fine.
Right. Yeah. Once a year, it's fine. Is there anyone that you would like to work with? Talking about putting something out into the universe. Is there anyone that you would like to work with that you've not yet?
Is there someone I would like? All of them. I not anyone who I watch on TV or film that makes me feel something is who I want to work with. I'm like, oh, that person knows what they're doing. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's like, Meryl Streep. Sure. obviously Meryl Streep. But I mean, that's the one.
Okay,
One. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
But
cool. Yeah,
anybody who like takes the craft seriously and is vulnerable and connected, I'm like, sign me up.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. They now we were kind of talking about like a little bit about process and everything. Um, have you dabbled at all in well, no, I'm blanking. The
Magic?
yeah, yeah. Well, sure.
Witchcraft? No.
While I'm thinking about what I meant to say, yeah. Have you tried? Have you like what other things have you? Actually, that's a much better way to look at it. Is there anything that you have had to do for an acting role that you then thought, you know what, I just need to try this. This would be fun, whether it be magic, whether it be like, I don't know, horseback riding, whatever.
Right. Nothing actually specific, but there is this incredible thing of like, I remember this was like 10 years ago, maybe. My friend and I, we did trapeze and we practiced trapeze in Santa Monica, which was so much fun. And I was like, I can put this on my resume now. Like
Yeah.
I can be like anything that makes me kind of more educated in different venues, like
Yeah.
ice skating. Like if I went to go, like anything, like I can add that into my repertoire of things. And I think that's so cool. And most of the time there's like this beautiful synchronicity that comes along. And like sometimes I'll be like doing some random thing and then a job will come, and it's not that it's required, but it's like, or an audition, like a violin player, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm learning violin, this is perfect. And I don't necessarily get the job, but I'm like, there's all these like little magical, like you're on the right track, you're bettering yourself, you're part of the world, stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. And now I remember the other thing. Have you ever dabbled in anything method?
Method. Method. Not so methody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got that sense. I got that sense already, but I just had to ask.
Yeah, not so methody. I don't know if my little heart can take it, but I do. I really love Meisner. I think that keeps in the moment very good. Stanislavski, which is great. Like I love substitution. Some people it doesn't really work for because it's kind of heady.
Right.
But for me, if you're walking into a cold room, I can't look at someone and be like, I love you. And I met you before. Like, so I have to play make believe a little bit with my life experiences.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. Are there any fun stories from the set of A Lawyer with the Soul of a Diva?
With the soul of a diva. Yes. Okay. Well, so many fun stories from that set. Which one do I want to tell you? It's been so long. We all were shooting in Georgia.
Yep.
And that was rough because at that point, not many productions were in Atlanta. So we were like one of two. And we lived in Peachtree City, and that's how you got around, is these golf carts. So it was basically like we felt like we were in college. It was like there's no one around. Well, we only know us. Like we know the Starbucks girls. We're like, hey, good morning, Starbucks girls. A little tiny town. And it was just, I don't know if there's anything, one specific fun thing that I can tell you, but we did that for 6 years. And I think that we just became like this wonderful dysfunctional family, like very, and it was the best show because like all the storylines were fun. And, like, I don't know, I just loved everybody in the show. Like we've been blessed. I've been blessed to have like really incredible castmates who take their jobs very seriously. I know that the lead of that show we played best friends, and she would do her coverage like in an emotional scene, and I would do my coverage, and she would just always show up. She would always, like, whatever she did in her coverage, she would do in my coverage. And those, once again, very long days. You get one scene that takes 4.5 hours to shoot, and she would just, and I'm just like, what? Because that's the kind of, generosity was on the set, and it was just incredible. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Any stories about working with Charlie Sheen and John Cryer?
Oh, the best team. Weren't they the best team?
Yeah. Yeah, so much fun.
They they just were incredible. I think, is there a good story? They just were so friendly and warm and loving. I remember okay, this is a funny one. I had been, my character was given like a diamond necklace from John Cryer's character in the episode. And that was the storyline. And I had shown up to work and I was wearing a diamond necklace, but it was my own personal, like, it was a small little, like, ooh. And so we were rehearsing the scene. Charlie is like in the middle of the scene, and he looks and he's like, "Is that the fucking necklace they gave you?" And he's like, "We got to get props. Like, this is not." And I was like, no, this is my necklace. And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, he was so apologetic. But he's got that wry, dry sense of humor. So it just, everyone was laughing, and it was hilarious. It was just,
that's
yeah.
phenomenal.
I was like, "Oh, you boy."
Right.
But they were such a good, they had such incredible rhythm, like true Odd Couple, like just really magic and charismatic. And then, Conchata Ferrell was such an incredible part of that as well. Like, she had incredible energy, and I admire her work from ages ago. She was in one of my favorite movies called Nadia Comaneci, Nadia. And cool. Yeah, I loved her in that. Like, she's had such like a gravelly voice. Like, I loved her voice. So I'm sad she's not with us anymore. But,
yeah. It's really interesting, like textures. I look at, I kind of take in people's voices and all kinds of, it's almost like sounds have such interesting textures. And it's kind of cool to play around with them. And because I've done a little bit of voiceover work, and in very specific places, but still, and it's just fascinating to try those textures on and just kind of see, like, oh, how do like the other day I was doing what's essentially a Corey Feldman impression, and the back of my throat hurt so bad.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Because just trying to change your voice for different stuff and putting it into places where, like, because I'm a singer, it's the main thing I do. But then trying to spending like 45 minutes going, hey guys, and it just tears the back. But it's fascinating it's still fun and fascinating to like play around with those things and just kind of try them. Yeah, almost like trying them on like garments or something, just to kind of see, how's the fit,
exactly. Yes, it's brave. It's important.
Yeah. Now, has there been anything like that you've experimented with that you thought, oh gosh, I like that. That feels good. And not even just for the character, but also just in general?
Yeah, I took singing lessons, which is very uncomfortable for me. I don't like singing. I like singing, but I like singing bad. Like, I'm very comfortable singing bad. It's when I try to sing well that I get very uncomfortable. So I took singing lessons a couple years ago, and I started to get mildly comfortable with it. And then in well, the last show I was in, my character falls in love and she has to do this song, and I was terrified, but also appreciated that I had some ability to do it. And I love it, but I'm also so terrified to do it. And it takes a lot of practice and a lot of not sounding good. And so that's why I avoid it. But I love it. Like when I do hit a note, I'm like, oh my God, but I don't know how to do that repetitively. So I'm like, wow.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's a time thing. I've been singing since I was about 3. And so it's a time thing. Like, and, you know, and like anything else, it's like a muscle. Like the more you kind of play with it, you know, it's, you know, Stephen, great question. Would you ever want to direct?
Oh, no, I've decided. I'll tell you why, Steve. Because I like to go home at the end of the night. Like I have noticed that the directors are look, actors have to go in there early to get their hair and makeup done. We're kind of there when, you know, when crew arrives, and directors come later. But directors go home and then they have to look and prepare the scene. Did we get this? Did we get that? What are the shots that we had to drop because we ran out of time? And they're also really good problem solvers. Yeah. I feel like if I hit a wall, I'm like, all right, let's go to lunch. Like I'm going to go home now. But directors are like, okay, we have a problem. We have to solve it. And I'm not good at that. I'm like, let's call it. We'll pick it up later.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm actually envious because I'm one of those obsessive compulsives that has a really hard time. Like, so if I see something, I'm like, oh, I need to fix this, and this needs to be, and I will sit there for hours and hours and hours, and I just like, it's So,
that's amazing. I don't have that.
I wish I didn't, because it gets me in more trouble than
right.
You know, because it's really bad. It's bad when I'm in charge of something. It's really bad when I'm not.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Because you're like, excuse me, we have to fix this immediately.
Yeah.
Wow.
I missed this. I didn't get that. We need to, you know, this should be here. Like, I can't. It's
but then that's great. Then you would make a good director in that capacity, I think. Yeah.
I'd go nuts, but it would be, you know.
You would go nuts. Exactly.
Yeah. It would be a masterpiece if you took off the M. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, bad joke. So what is acting with special effects like? How do you enjoy it? Like, what was your first experience working with special effects?
Right. I love it, actually. I feel like in a weird way, it adds so much. I mean, you have special effects with like things blowing up, which is really, really cool, because then you can really react. The time it takes for them to set up and make sure everyone is safe is a complete art in itself. Like, oh, God bless our stunts team and special effects. But the special effects with like, you know, like the dots, you know, and imagining like you're growing or whatever. That's really cool, because you can really let I like it because it's definitely like a defined moment where my character can have her breakdown or whatever. So like when they come in and they put the dots on, then I know like, okay, now we get to go all the way.
Right.
And so I like it, and I like to see what they do with it, because you don't know. They just come in and put the dots on and then they leave. You're like, okay, do the best. And then when you finally see the episode, you're like, oh my God, that's what they did. Like, this is incredible. So I really like it. I think it's very, very cool.
That's cool. Was there ever an experience with that where either the way it was played out on the script or what they were kind of telling you to do in the day, when you watched the final product, and you're like, wow, they found that in the edit. That is totally not what we were doing.
No.
No. Okay. I had to ask because sometimes, well, because special effects change so much.
Right.
Editing, Final Cut in editing and all that kind of stuff can change, and then you're like, oh, it's not this now, it's a dragon or whatever.
No, it's the thing. No, yeah, they were very by the book, and I think it was just a very I always wondered when I got scripts how they were gonna shoot it. I'm like, there's no way this is gonna happen. Like I don't know how they're gonna do this.
Right.
And then when you see it done, it's mind blowing. I'm like, they did it. How did they do that? That's incredible. Yeah, it's always better actually than I had imagined it. They do it that well.
That's cool. Yeah. And actually, and speaking of that, that's another group of folks that are probably going to have to go on strike before too long, because from what I understand, they're overworked, they're underpaid. There's a lot of that going on.
It's crazy.
It's a pattern with It's a pattern with the AMPTP.
And then just share the. I mean, I don't understand why it's all at the top and not. It's supposed to sprinkle down. That's like the whole point. Like,
all I can think of is Jim Carrey, because his blessings are raining upon me. Wait, that's not rain. Anyway, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And Bill, that's exactly, and if people can't survive on creating something, especially things that everybody loves, to not have an implicit understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Harry Ford, for all of the crazy stuff he did, now how bad he was in a lot of ways, even he was smart enough to realize, if people can't afford to buy my car, I'm not going to sell any.
Right.
So anyway, so sorry, I could get I could get into that all day long.
Because it's insanity. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. I mean, also because it's an entire industry that you're,
Exactly. Yeah, and it's up and down the board. You can't. Anytime you have a concentration, I understand. Hey, wanting to be because we talked about this before. I understand wanting to be in charge because you want things to be handled a certain way. But if you don't also have an eye on wanting to make sure everybody's treated well,
we have a problem.
Yeah, you can't expect anybody to stay. Like no one's gonna, everybody's gonna cycle through, and eventually they're gonna be like, "Whoa, this sucks. I'm gone." And with the independents and the independent studios are signing the interim contract.
Right.
So, or at least some of them are, and they're the ones that get to proceed with making their stuff. So you would think that everybody,
get on board. I don't know.
Yeah. If it's a couple of years and everybody goes to independence, I mean, that actually splinters power. So that's something, but it's still, there's a lot of people that do still get screwed in that scenario. So
exactly, like the whole industry. It's just like we have, like what are all the caterers doing right now? Like it's
exactly.
Everyone is affected by it. It's really awful. It's awful. It's bad news bears.
Okay, so moving to more fun topics. Sorry everybody, that's my bad. That's my bad. That's I get into that wheelhouse so easy. Playing a character who was an actress from the 50s. Were there any starlets from that decade? Great question. That you drew inspiration from for the role.
Yes. So there was this incredible. Okay, there was a Twilight Zone episode, I think called. I think it was called The Actress. I drew inspiration from that, but Betty Davis, Katharine Hepburn. Betty Davis had a film called The Star, and she is an actress who is getting older and is losing her confidence as a woman and as a young woman, and she kind of goes crazy at the end. Like it's genuinely like such an inspiring film that I built into the character that I played. Just any 50 starlet. I mean, just
that's cool.
Keep them coming,
Yeah.
But mostly Betty Davis, Katharine Hepburn. Yeah.
Okay. The now speaking of, do you have? I mean, I get the impression that you kind of soak in sort of everything, which is lovely and wonderful. Is there any particular decade that you like to, when you're just picking a movie for yourself or picking something to watch for yourself? Is there a particular decade you just kind of like to hang in? Is it just all over the board?
It's kind of all over the board. Right now, my husband and I are really into Korean dramas.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
because they're very warm and nothing really bad happens.
Right.
Yeah. And they're very character driven.
Yeah.
And the stories are like compelling and most of the time just all about love and connection.
Yeah.
So we're going through that right now, and it's fantastic. But and then on occasion we watch like some really good sci-fi.
Hmm.
But yeah, basically Korean drama and sci-fi.
That's cool. So with sci-fi, do you find yourself gravitating more toward sci-fi that's I would imagine more on the positive, like the cleaner utopias, or do you go for more of like the dystopian thing? Like, is there
I go
something in there that you kind of gravitate more toward, or is it just kind of whatever?
I like what do I like? I like space.
Hmm.
I like a world unexplored.
Yeah.
Um I like a little bit of, space war.
Yeah.
But with like it has to have like a very connected character.
Yeah.
For me, story is not interesting if you can't connect to the characters. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Yeah, you
Cool.
yeah.
Are
That's my
you a fan of the show about stellar voyages?
yes. I feel like I'm on Jeopardy. Yes, I am.
Right. Exactly. What is this question? No, no.
Yes. Yes.
See,
I am a fan. My dad is a huge fan, so I think that's where I
okay,
also got it from.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite episode of the comic book show?
Yes, episode 4, season 1. I know that because my character got to like it was just my favorite because my character got to like yell at I had this beautiful like monologue, and part of it was where my character was like unraveling and feeling pressure, and so she like lost it, and it was just such a fun monologue to do. Once again, thank you
Yeah.
writers.
Yes.
Yeah, because that like stays with me, and I feel like I served the writing so well, and the writing spoke to me so well, and that I got to create this energy. So
Mm,
yes, season 1, episode 4.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself preferring the like, if for something that goes on a while, do you find yourself preferring the start of something, or more once everybody's kind of on the same page and and it's moving, it's been a few seasons? Like, is there an energy that is there one energy that you enjoy more than another?
What do I like? I think I like a few episodes in.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think if a show yeah, I have a first episodes are really hard. They're really
Yeah.
hard. Pilot episodes are so hard to make interesting and good, and you kind of have to hang in there. And I'm about a 3 episode girl. If it's not
Yeah.
grabbing me after 3 episodes, I either ask a friend and they're like, no, it's the 6th episode, it gets amazing, and then I'll hang in there. But if everyone is like, no, what it is that's what it is, then I'm like, bye, see you later. I'm not gonna watch.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead and bring that question back up if you would, because
Sorry.
I missed. There we go. Any fun stories from that comedy movie about a restaurant with a fish in its name from years ago?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah.
What an incredible dude. Also one that's not with us anymore. Such a bummer.
Yeah.
Such a force, such a voice, like giant of a man.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Hmm.
Those guys, Broken Lizards. Can I say that?
yeah, we'll edit it in post or something. I don't know.
Oh, yes.
It's okay.
They are so much fun to work with. Every day was like just it felt like a comedy troupe, like I was part of a
Yeah.
comedy troupe going in. And I got to work with Chloe Smolders on that as well, and she was incredible. Just I mean, was there anything specific? No, it was just like this wild, wonderful. Everyone showed up on time, everyone was cracking ideas the whole time. Like you couldn't, it was a very safe set in the sense of that you got to play, and play was supported, and like if you had an idea you could try the idea. And also the guys were just so funny that you would just laugh all the time. And it was just the best. It was just the best experience. We shot in the valley. I think like in the winter. It was also I don't know, man. It was I'm going on and on, but it was just like an incredible, wonderful experience. Those guys are so talented.
That's awesome. Yeah. And sometimes when you find a team that you really vibe with, and that's kind of what I was sort of getting at, is there are people that I want to meet new people and have new experiences and different experiences. And then there are folks that are like, when it's a tight knit group and everybody really feels and we're all really connected and we're just like going, that's, and both are really fun and fascinating. But sometimes some people are more like, I'm more like this and I'm more like that.
I see. Yeah. I'm a tight knit group. I like a tight knit group. Yeah. Group.
Well, the other thing I was going to ask is, is there any place that you haven't been that you would like to travel to for something, or you think would be fascinating to travel to something? And also, is there any place that you visited just personally that you're like, you know what, I'd love to film here?
Oh, so many places.
Right?
Yes. Well, I've never been to Greece and I really want to go. There's been multiple times where I've almost gone and then it's not worked out. But it just seems so magical with the blue water and the white architecture and like the homes and the colors and the food and the people. Like it seems amazing. So I would really love to go to Greece. And then if I could work somewhere that I would love, I was lucky enough to get a movie that shot in England during COVID. And it was such a blessing because I was very scared. It was like, the height of COVID and like, do we leave our house? Do we not? And I remember talking with the producer. He was like, you should do this film. And I was like, no, I don't know if I can fly. And he was so incredible. He was like, look, COVID is here to stay. And you can either like start living your life or you can not. And it was so incredible. And so I got on a plane and I flew to England, and it was the most incredible experience. So I feel very blessed to have been able to work during COVID and in a different country, which kind of had like this lighter, no, it wasn't lighter. It was just a different perspective. And to be in a different location was beautiful, and to be working was incredible. And it just made me feel whole and, hopeful. So once again, work, so important. And I would love to shoot in England again. It was such a romantic, beautiful, the sun came out and like there were ducks everywhere and the parks are beautiful. Like the coffee was great. Like, I don't know. I just had the best time.
That's awesome. Yeah. The now another question. Do you like to improv a lot?
Here's the thing. I don't really, it's kind of like the scariest thing. Like when people are like, okay, we're going to do improv. I'm like deer in a headlights. Like, I don't know.
Right.
What about the script? Let's stay on the script.
Right.
So I think if I could play with someone who was very comfortable with improv, and then I could just relax without having to feel like I was performing improv, then I would do okay. But to be like, all right, let's improv. And I know rules to improv, and that scares me so much because I'm like, what are the rules? What are the rules?
Right. Yeah. Now, do you find now I know I think we're starting to run a bit over, but I was going to say, like, would you prefer something that was more like you've got the script, but you can play around? Like the script is sort of like the general sandbox, and then you get to play a little bit and see where it goes a little bit beyond that.
Right. Yes.
As opposed to just pure improv and anything can happen. And
correct. I like a safety net underneath me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to write the scene myself. They're like, okay, here's the circumstances, go. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I am not a writer. They are their own treasure and I need them.
Yep. Yes. It's funny when you're saying I need a net. My first thought was there's an old Dean Martin joke, and he says the officer said, "Walk that white line." I said, "I ain't walking that white line unless you put a net under it."
There you go. Yes, it's so perfect. Dean. Yes.
Oh, I love Dean. I enjoy like everything up to Maroon 5 and everything else, but I love Dean Martin, and I'm a massive Elvis fan. Oh my gosh, yeah. So yeah, as a matter of fact, that's one of the things I did voiceover on. If you went into Lowe's or whatever and you saw like Christmas ornaments and stuff that would sing, they would sing Elvis songs or whatever. That was my voice you were hearing.
Stop it!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
So yeah, it was fun.
Well done. Very fun.
Yeah. Oh, it was a blast. And most of the time I wasn't just Elvis's voice. I was the backup singers too.
Oh my
which
God,
is because I got to know the Jordanaires. But I mean, there's one of the bass singer is still alive, but I got to know the Jordanaires very well. So you get around people enough. And actually, that's one more question. And I'm waiting for somebody to get the hook for me. But if you're playing a character that was created by someone or is based on someone, to meet that person to get their input on the character.
Right? Wouldn't it be incredible? Yes, 100%. I feel like as an actor, unless it's the specific where you don't need the information, I think the more information, the better, and from different sources.
Yeah.
I think our job is to kind of be a detective and to get to the bottom of different whatever there is to know. So I think the more information, the better. And then you can weed out whatever you want.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, okay. That's kind of an interesting thing. Has there ever been a time where there was something that you just felt in a direction for either a character motivation or something like that, that you got a little bit into the script and you're like, oh, never mind.
Like, no, we weren't going to do that. Like, I'm like, I have a great idea. And then I'm like, oh, it can't happen that way with that. I feel like sometimes it does happen, right? Where you feel like you've reached this like epiphany. You're like, aha, I know this person. And then you like turn the page and then she like dies on page 6. You're like, oh,
exactly.
No, I guess not. Yeah, I feel like all the time, but I also love that about our job is that like you just don't know what's going to happen. And it is our job to be like, I've fallen in love, like I've done it. And then there's always the
yeah. Hi, Dan.
Hi guys. I just wanted to jump in and let you guys know that we're over the 7 p.m. mark.
Okay, April, this has been a joy and a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yay, thank you. Such a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for helping, because this is going to be, I mean, the donations that have come in and everything, we really appreciate everybody. please go to the link down below
Yes.
and make a donation. And everybody, one simple wish is really great and wonderful. And thank you to everybody today. And yeah, and again, yeah, April, it's been an absolute pleasure. Tell your family hello from us. And
Oh. All right, you guys, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Mwah.
April, I just want to say the most difficult thing I've had this weekend is I had to tell Dwight Schultz we need to move on. I had to tell the ladies from Three Company we had to move on, and now I've got to tell you too. It has been a pleasure, and thank you.
Yeah,
Such a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
So grateful. Thank you for doing this. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful charity. So well done, you guys.
Awesome.
Great cause.
Jamie,
all right. Thank you.
I was going to say, Jamie, great job moderating too. I was going to say, if you guys just want to leave the studio, I'll wrap up, and then we're going to put this one in the books and call it history.
Okay, love it.
beautiful. All right, everybody, good to see
Thanks
you.
again.
We love you all. Be good to yourselves and each other, and support the SAG-AFTRA and Writers Guild strikes.
Thank you.
Yep. And so, see you all out there.
Bye.
Watch the show about stellar voyages because it's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, this is Otherworldly Fundraising. Our fundraising efforts are benefiting one simple wish. Links are located in the description below.